Hello everyone, welcome back. Severus here, coming back with a new part of Fed if Deku was Ghostfreak, and well, let's just get right into it, shall we? Now, where we last left off after the sport festival, after Midoriya and Shinso were taken away, and what Midoriya did to Shinso was terrifying to everybody. And well, once he woke up in the hospital, the first thing that he was met with was Aizawa scolding him about what happened and wondering what was the wrong with him. Didn't he hear Midnight telling him to stop? But Midoriya talked to Aizawa and he told him that what? He doesn't remember anything. What happened? Last thing he remembered was falling under Shinso's brainwashing and then it was just blank. Everything was just blank. And so they showed him the recordings and he doesn't believe it. Why would he do that? He didn't mean to do that. It just makes no sense. Why? Eventually, Heizo just scoffs a little and sighs, saying that whatever that Midoriya did, it doesn't look good. He need to get his shit together because he can do whatever he wants when it's like normal school day. They can work this out, but on the sport festival in front of the entirety of Japan, yeah, it does not look good for him. Let's just say that. Regardless of that being said, Midoriya did ask what about Shinso. He informed him that Shinso is still in a coma, but he's okay for now. That he'll definitely develop some trauma from what happened. With that all being said, Midoriya was left back home, and the next day, he goes to UA again. As he walks through the gate of UA, all of the students looking at him, they stare and just walk away. Midoriya can only hear them whisper and mutter under their breaths as he just puts his hoodie on his head and just walks, ashamed, afraid of their looks and what they thinking of him. Until eventually he reaches his classroom. He enters the class and everybody meets him, though nobody really talks to him, not in the long run at least. Mina, as always, is just kind of avoiding him. Some of the students are just, not really talking, looking the other way around. Kirishima is still friendly, so he just says, "Hey, Midoriya," as Midoriya just says hi, but before he walks and sits on his seat, beside of him is, Tokuyami on the opposite side is Shoji, as they both look at Midoriya and say hi, and, Tokuyami wondering what happened with you yesterday on the sport festival and all, but Midoriya said, it's a long thing. I still am a little, I don't know what happened. It's just, as then he hears a sound from in front of him, Bago saying, "What's the matter? Finally letting loose, you freak of a ghost?" As Midoriya just looks in front of him at Bago and, he kind of gets a little angry. Before Bago looking over his shoulder, he just stops and looks forward again, saying, "You certainly put quite the nice performance." As Midoriya just doesn't answer him, Tokuyami just told Baku to stop it. This is no time for joking. But before their conversation continue any further, Mr. Aizawa enters through the door and informs everybody that after the sport festival, it wasn't good from them and whatnot, but the real reason for the sport festival is for them to get, internships and whatnot. And so he showed them the list. Everybody got a lot of internships. Baku and Todoroki are in the top place. Todoroki is the first place, Baku is the second. But in the very bottom, regardless of the people who didn't get internship offers, is Midoriya with a single internship. And Midoriya just seeing this is, I guess nobody really wanted to work with him after what he did. And with that all being said, Aizawa said, "For you who didn't get internships, don't worry. UA have assigned a few agencies with different heroes to help you find somewhere to work. For now, since you're all going to be participating as sidekicks under official pros, you'll need hero names." And that's where Midnight comes in, as she slams through the door, saying hi to everybody and proceeding to tell them to choose their hero name because it's their brand and whatnot and all of that fun stuff. Just making the mood of the place a lot more brighter and cheerful. And so everybody start working on their hero names. Midori just looking at his paper, or well, he's just wondering, what should he go with? He looks into his hand and he just feels weird. He feels off. Every day he feels off. He feels like he's about to just as Tokuyama just looks over his shoulder at Midoriya saying, "So, Midoriya, what hero name are you choosing?" As Midoriya said, I'm still thinking. I don't know." As, well, Tokuyama goes like, "Maybe you would go with Spectre." As Midoriya said, "That's nice, but I don't think that suits me. I feel like something... I'll figure something out." As Tokuyama said, "Well, you better figure something out quickly." And, well, everybody start putting their hero names. First one being Tsu, showing her hero name Froppy, and everybody one after the other until Midoriya's turn comes by. And he remembers something. What did Bagu call him? A freak of a ghost? A freak of a ghost, huh? As Midoriya stands in front of all of them as he said, "I thought a bit about this one, and, well, I think this could work. Not sure if it's really heroic, but might as well play into my theme." As he says, "From here on out, call me the Ecto Hero, Ghostfreak." As everybody hearing that, and Midnight said, "Ooh, that's a little scary." As Midoriya said, "Well, I guess it's the point. It already looks scary, so might as well play into it." As Midnight said, "Sure, I guess it works, whatever." And Midoriya just hearing Midnight's very unenthusiastic tone. It feels off. I guess she is still a little, well, weirded out since she was the closest person that saw what happened with Midoriya and Shinso. With that all being said and everybody choosing their hero names, eventually they start looking on their offers. Since Midoriya has only one, he didn't even bother looking at it. He just accepted it and went by his day. Eventually, as the school day is over, Midoriya goes out of the class and was about to go back home. All of his friends and classmates have already walked away, since he wanted some time alone just to reflect on himself, looking in the mirror, wondering what is wrong with him. He just doesn't feel like he's always there, and he swears that he just saw something move in his shadow. He's losing his mind. Anyway, as he walks outside of the bathroom, he continues walking, and as he turned into a corner, he bumps into somebody. Or he was going to bump into somebody if it wasn't for his intangibility, as the person who was gonna bump into him just went right through Midoriya and fell on the ground. As Midoriya turns around and he sees a girl with white hair holding into her, well, bag as she's on the ground saying, "Oh, damn it." As Midoriya said, "Oh, are you okay?" As she looks up into Midoriya that's holding his hand for her. And she said, "Oh, spooky ghost." As Midoriya said, "Spooky ghost." As well, she grabs into his hand as she, well, being helped to stand up. And she just looks at him, and Midoriya said, "Are you okay?" And she just looks at him saying, "Yeah, I'm okay. I am Rico." As Midoriya said, "Oh, Rico, right? From Class 1B? Well, sorry to bump into you, or I guess not bumping into you. Sorry anyway." As Rico said, It's no problem. I was not looking ahead of me. I just..." As Midoriya said, "Oh, what was that?" As she said, "It's just, nice to meet you. He is a little spooky." As Midoriya just hearing her, he swears that he's hearing her calling him spooky, as he said, "Okay. Well, anyway, excuse me, I have to go." As, well, she said, well, nice to meet you." As he said, well, pleasure meeting you too." As he just walks away. And Riko's just standing there, just watching him as he go before somebody appear from a corner saying, "Well, that could have gone a lot better. Man, you need really working on your little conversation skills, as she just looks down and as Kendo just gets closer to her, hitting her on her back, saying, I don't know why you're like him, but as a friend, it's my job to help you. We'll figure out a way. Don't worry. Maybe after this internship stuff. As Riku just nods. And well, Midoriya leaves. And after a day, he goes into where his internship will be. He goes and finds a building in the corner, in the dark alleyways. Really, very much on. Is this really the location? This seems wrong. It feels like it's a trap. Regardless, eventually Midori just goes in and enters the place. The place is absolutely abandoned. It's just like, it's empty. There's like only one desk, a small window, some weights on the floor, and a punching bag. And he's like, hello? Anybody there? As then he hears a sound saying, what took you so long? As from behind the desk, in his little yellow sleeping bag, Aizawa stands up, and Midori said, Mr. Aizawa? What are you doing here? As he said, what does it look like? This is my agency. As Midori said, your agency? As he just thinking to himself, saying, this is your agency? It's just an abandoned building. As Aizawa said, I'm a minimalist. As Midori said, okay, but did I get the wrong address then? As Aizawa said, nope, your internship with me, kid. As Midori said, what? How As Aizawa said, did you not read the paper? And Midori is thinking to himself, saying, maybe he should have actually read the paper. And Aizawa said, nobody sent you an internship except me, because you need to learn something really important. Self-control. As he just looks at him with those red eyes. And Aizawa looks at Midori saying, so tonight and for the next week, it's gonna be me, you, and whoever is unfortunate enough to cross our path. As Midori just looks at Aizawa, before Aizawa just goes back to sleep, as he said, but before that, we'll do that later. Just, I don't know, do something. I'm gonna take a nap. We'll go, like, at night. And while Aizawa just goes back to sleep, while Midori kind of just sits around. He really doesn't do anything. There's just really nothing to do here. So he kind of just tests with his powers a little on a different level of the building. This place is so quiet. He is there like rats here? He's hearing noises. Regardless, with all of that being said and done, at nighttime, Midori puts on his costume and goes with Aizawa. He sees Aizawa in his business, and Aizawa just tells Midori to stay invisible the whole time, because the element of surprise that Midori provides is gonna be very helpful to him. And so he does. He follows Aizawa around. Aizawa also told him to not speak a word unless spoken to. And so he does. He just sees Aizawa going around, talking to a few people, handling a few criminals, petty crimes such as a guy grabbing an old lady's bag or something. But then he just sees Aizawa going behind into a really dark alleyway and talking to some shady folks. Some that look like villains, and Midoriya is wondering, is this how he does his job? Is this really how an underground hero deals with all these things? And well, as Aizawa finishes his little conversation, he starts walking down the dark alleyway before climbing into the top of the building. As then Midoriya appears since Aizawa gave him the word, and he starts explaining to him as an underground hero, he doesn't exactly work in the same way as the law. If we are really to think about it in a way, he's sort of a vigilante, really. Doing what he wants whenever he wants. The police doesn't know what he does, nor do they need to know what they are doing. As long as they get the information and the location and the names, that's all what it matters. Sometimes police call on him for special investigations and whatnot, but Aizawa has his little sources. For example, he have gotten a source for a new drug trafficker that they were gonna stop their little deal. And so Aizawa proceed to go with Midori into that little deal and make sure that it doesn't carry out. Aizawa immediately jumps in using his scarf after taking a few of the guards outside of the warehouse. As Midoriya is inside as well with Aizawa, Aizawa allows him to go in the fight since he can turn intangible. He really isn't in much of a danger. Eventually, both of them manage to beat up all the villains inside. As one of the people is left around, Aizawa interrogates him, but the guy is not speaking as he looks into Midoriya, asking him, saying that Midoriya should probably try and interrogate the dude. As Midoriya said, "Oh, what do you mean? How?" As Aizawa looks at Midoriya, saying, "Your powers could be helpful, you know." As he gets closer into Midoriya while still tying up the guy, saying, "Remember your quirk. Don't you have the ability to put your hands in someone's mind? I see that you normally prefer to just brain screw them or something, but it could be used in many different other implications. You're just not thinking well with your quirk. Try it." As Midoriya said, "Oh, are you asking me to try and look into his mind?" As Aizawa said, "That is precisely what I'm asking. Now come on." And well, Midoriya tries to. He places his finger in the guy's head, but instead of immediately like shocking him and messing with his brain, he just, well, plays around with it. It's like looking through an archive, looking through books and just pushing them aside until you find the one you want. As he just asks Aizawa what does he want him to look for, and Aizawa just tells him about locations and names and whatnot, and eventually he does find them. Then with that all being said, Midoriya just let go of the guy as the guy falls unconscious, after which the police comes in, take the villains away, and that was how Midoriya's internship went for the whole week. Until the final day of the internship, when Midoriya was, well, was going with Aizawa to deal with a villain that seems to be attacking what it seemed to be, well, a factory. A factory for metal and other stuff like that. As Midoriya and Aizawa enter the place, they see markings of the place being broken, and they see the police officer just tied up with bandages. It seems whoever we're dealing with is also using scarves, or is similar to Aizawa in that nature. As Midoriya and Aizawa just enter the place, they start walking around. It's dark. They can hear the water dripping. They hear noises, and it's terrifying. Aizawa is using a bit of a night goggle to help him look around since the place is a little dark. Midoriya, on the other hand, can't see in the dark apparently, which is something he himself did not know. But in the end, they hear noises, and they follow it until they find someone digging through the ground, before Aizawa immediately goes to try and capture him as he wraps his scarf around the guy's body while keeping his distance as he said, "You're under arrest. Now stand down." As Midoriya looks with Aizawa, and they see, as the man turns around, this is no man. It's a mummy. As immediately Aizawa is saying that, the guy just walks right through Aizawa's bandages before hitting the lights above them as the lights start flickering, and every time he flickers, he gets closer and closer before immediately Midoriya just goes trying to attack him using his tentacles, but the guy just moves all around of them, separates himself into a bunch of, bandages, and then shoots two of these bandages into Midoriya and Aizawa as immediately Midoriya just pushes Aizawa out of the way while he turns intangible, and the two bandages hit the ground. As Midoriya sees the damages that those bandages dealt, they, crack the concrete. For somebody who's made of toilet paper, he's certainly powerful. And so their battle commences. Midoriya trying to attack this guy with all of his abilities. He's trying to slash him using his claw with his right hand, extending his fingernails into the length of a sword almost, and slashing at his bandages, while the guy jumping back. Aizawa goes ahead and tries to cancel the guy's quirk, but it's not working, as immediately the guy just hits another light and it starts flickering. He can't see, none of them can, but every time the light flickers, it gets closer as he gets closer into Aizawa. And immediately grabs Aizawa as Midoriya says, "Mr. Aizawa!" As Aizawa trying to hit the guy with a knife, but again, it doesn't work. As then, the guy opens his chest and Aizawa looks inside. See those purple crystals? These things, as then Aizawa starts screaming in pain He's suffering. It's torturous, and before long, Midoriya sees his teacher transforming into a black and purple zombie. As Midoriya said, "What the? Mr. Aizawa!" As immediately, the mummy just let go of the guy before throwing him at Midoriya, as he just disappeared under the flickering light of the building. As immediately Aizawa starts attacking Midoriya while Midoriya is dodging him, trying to get him under control, and he's just telling him, "Mr. Aizawa, what's wrong with you? Calm down." As after a while, he just locks him up in a room, wondering what is wrong with him. As after that, he just thinking, what should he do? What should he do? The guy's already left, and whatever he was digging in the ground, he already took. Mr. Aizawa is... What happened to Mr. Aizawa? As, well, with that all being said, after a while, Midoriya just calls on the police to come in and help them. As they arrive, Midoriya just tell them what happened, and he told them that Mr. Aizawa, or Eraserhead, has mutated into a weird monster. As he opens the door for the room that he locked him in, and all what they see is just Aizawa shirtless. And the detective Sukauchi, hearing Midoriya, he said, "I get it, Aizawa is not the most pleasant guy to look at, but he's certainly not that creepy." As Aizawa said, "What the hell happened?" And Midoriya said, but it was Mr. Aizawa, you saw that, right?" As Aizawa said, "What are you talking about, kid? Did you hit your head or something?" As Midoriya said, "The villain, he..." As, well, they just have no evidence. There are no markings of any breaking in. There is only the concrete and the floor broken. Though the cameras were all destroyed, there is no sign of what villain was here. Aizawa barely remembers what happens. All what he can think of is like he got attacked by somebody, just a purple light, and then he's, well, in a room and shirtless." And Midoriya just wondering, what does that mean? Why can't Aizawa remember? And, well, he tried to talk, but they didn't exactly believe him, because his description does not align with any criminal they know of. Regardless of that, Midoriya and Aizawa just quit for the day after giving their report and go back into their agency. As Aizawa goes into his sleep, Midoriya is also sleeping using a sleeping bag. He's just staring into the ceiling about what happened. That mummy, he was digging for that weird glowy stone, that purple stone. The last thing that happened to Aizawa when he showed it, that stone, he mutated. He wonders what that means. What the hell does any of that means? Whatever. Regardless, he just goes to sleep. Difficult sleep it is, but he sleeps eventually. And with that, this will leave it off, guys. Don't forget to tell me down in the comments what you think about this part, and what you think gonna happen in the next part. Well, I have nothing more to say than Severed was here.